Welcome everyone to our afternoon session, which is titled Student Perspectives, Your Role in Helping Students Overcome Adversity on the Path to a Rewarding Career. My name is Deb Bowen, and I'm the Executive Director of the STEM Foundation, and I'm pleased to introduce our panel moderator for this session, Evangelina Shreeve. Evangelina is the Director of STEM Education at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. She leads the development and execution of PNNL's STEM education strategy and coordinates with state and national STEM stakeholders. Her portfolio includes the advancement of the STEM Nexus initiative, building on the success of the Delta High model. Battelle and PNNL recently awarded the STEM Foundation $1 million to work in partnership with Evangelina and her talented team to expand experiential and career-connected learning throughout the region. I guess, Evangelina, I would call you my partner in crime. It seems we talk often, and we're very grateful for all of the help that your organization provides us, including taking over and just running this session for us at noon. So we're excited to meet the young professionals and student intern, and take it away.
Thank you, Deb. And I appreciate that. We truly are partners in crime. Hello and welcome to our panel discussion, Student Perspectives, Your Role in Helping Students Overcome Adversity on the Path to a Rewarding Career. As Deb said, I'm Evangelina Shreeve. I'm the Director of STEM Education at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, and I have the pleasure of moderating today's session. I'm excited for you to hear from our panelists who have all overcome different challenges to pursue their dream of fulfilling a career in STEM. Our conversation today will focus on understanding the roadblocks that they may have met on their path to a STEM career and how the educational systems and employers can help them be more representative of the workforce that we're looking for today. Let's meet today's panelist. Let's start with Elvin. Elvin, can you please introduce yourself by briefly telling us what community you're from and what high school you attended, and what university or college you attended or are currently attending, what your degree is, and what your day looks like.
Hi, my name is Elvin Munoz, and I'm from Matawal, Washington. It's a small farming community. I went to Wahluke High School there. I graduated with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering at Washington State University, Tri-Cities. Currently, I'm working on my master's at Washington State University in mechanical engineering as well. And I'm also working full-time at PNNL as a mechanical engineer. And what my day consists of is I work in the National Security Directorate, so I'm not allowed to talk about some of the projects I work on, but basically I do a lot of design work, rapid prototype and 3D printers, a lot of iterations, and design optimization, and then manufacturing of the final design.
Thank you, Elvin. Sonia, can you follow with the same questions?
Yes. So hi, everybody. My name is Sonia Alcantar Anguiano, and I am a chemist at PNNL, full-time staff. I actually I am from Georgia, so I graduated from Chesapeake High School, and I went to the University of North Georgia, also in Georgia, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree of science in biology and an associate's degree of science in chemistry. And I'm not going to say normal day because the day changes day to day, but my normal week consists of prepping labware that I'll be using for the breakdown of either filters, cotton wipes, soils and I break them down with different acid solutions to analyze the actinides. And there's a few that we focus on. I'm also in the National Security Directorate, so there are things that I'm not allowed to say, but that's basically what I do.
Thank you, Sonia. Grace, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Grace McNally. I grew up in Port Angeles, Washington, the other side of the mountains. I now live here and have for the past 12, 13 years. And I have a degree from WSU in psychology and a minor in English. And I've got a cybersecurity degree from CBC. and I am now a cybersecurity engineer at PNNL, and I started off at one of the internships here. A typical day for me kind of looks like, I'd say I put about 20 to 30% of my time into about 2 or 3 different projects each day, or weekly. Kind of, it varies day to week, whether I put a bunch of time one day in or a bunch of time broken up into one day or something. But I'd say about 2 or 3 projects, about 20 to 30% of my time each on those. And then I work about 20% of my time in the CSOC, dealing with cybersecurity alerts and solving issues there. And I do a lot of research and design and implementation for cybersecurity ideas and solutions. And I really love my job here.
Great, thank you. Isidro, can you share a little bit about your background?
I'm from Pasco, and I attended Tijuana High School. I graduated in 2017. Right now I'm attending WSU Pullman, majoring in mechanical engineering, and I'm also an intern at PNNL. And the typical workday for me, my classes and my work remote. I just wake up and log into my classes at WSU, and then in the gaps that I have, I log into my PNNL computer and work. The typical work I do is data analysis and machine learning.
Thank you. So just a reminder that if there are any questions, that to please ask those questions in the chat window. And we're going to get started with some questions of our panelists. Elvin, can you tell us who or what first inspired you to pursue your field? What is something you were always passionate about, and how did you change course or not?
My high school calculus teacher inspired me to go into mechanical engineering. I didn't know what engineering was in high school until he took us to Boeing, on a field trip to Boeing in Renton. And we got to see how the planes were manufactured and all the work that goes into the planes. And during this trip, this calculus teacher kind of explained to me what engineering was and everything I can do in that degree because how broad it is. So, and he also knew I excelled in my STEM courses, and I always enjoyed them as well. So I thought mechanical engineering would be the perfect field for me. I originally wanted to go into computer programming, but I was never really passionate about it. So when I went to CBC, I took some programming classes and I just knew it wasn't for me. So that's when I decided mechanical engineering was my path forward.
So what keeps you interested today?
What keeps me interested is just how broad the engineering field is. I get to work on a variety of projects in research side of engineering, as well as the applied side of engineering. And engineering is very challenging, and I like the challenge. So that keeps me interested.
Thank you very much. Sonia, we would like to hear your story. Who or what inspired you to pursue your field? Was it always something you were passionate about, or did you change course?
I did change course. So growing up, I'm originally from Mexico. So during my mom's pregnancy with my youngest sister, she had an accident, and so she had to go to the doctor a lot at that point. And I was taken along for the ride, and I really enjoyed the interaction that she had with the doctors that she was seeing, but also their interaction with her, and not just with her, but the rest of the patients that they would see. And so that got me really excited in wanting to be a doctor. So growing up, I worked towards that, doing well in school, but I also liked kids. I just love kids. They're amazing. They're so exciting. They see things in a different way. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted to be an OBGYN, someone who helped my mom through that process or during that time, or if I wanted to be a pediatrician and get involved with, seeing kids all the time. And so I was cool with that. I was working towards that. So when I hit college, I started to get involved in research. And this was just I was close with my professors, and if they said jump, I jumped. So they said, we're gonna try this research. And at that point it was soil research, and I loved it. Not that I love soil or anything that comes with it, but just learning about the different types of research that you can do with soil, what you can learn about the enzymes and the microbes that grow in it. And so that was one thing. And then after that research, I got involved with research with flies and little tiny wasps. And so then, not that I grew apart from the medical field, I was still interested in that, but now I had more love, more more excitement in my life than just medicine. And one of the talks that I had with one of my research professors was that everybody takes a different path in life. You don't have to be stuck in, like, I'm in college now and I was pursuing the medical field, so I should be prepared to take the MCAT and apply to medical school and then go. That's not the path for everybody. And she was supportive of the zigzag that I was doing with my life. And so when I graduated with my undergrad, I applied it to the internship with the lab, and I got it. So I moved here, and that internship turned into a research position. And then that research position turned into actual staff positions. So I ended up here. Now, during that time, I did continue to pursue the medical field to see if that was something that I would want to come to at some point. And so I started working at a hospital here in town, and I became not very good in that sense. I became a liability on many of my shifts just because seeing blood in little amounts is fine. I can handle it, my own blood, other people's blood, like, give it to me. When it's gushing out of someone and it makes little fountains and it's everywhere, I cannot deal with that. So that was my stop. And I did have conversations with those doctors that I worked with, and they just helped me guide. They helped guide me into the spot that I am today. So that's how I'm here.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like you both had experiences in life and challenges that led you to the course that you're at today, which is really great to understand. I'm going to move to Isidro, and if you could tell us about a point of time that you felt deterred from a STEM career, and if so, what is it that kept you motivated during that time?
Okay. All the STEM classes are very challenging. So I was always afraid of getting bad grades and losing my scholarship because I'm really dependent on scholarships. But I sometimes thought I should have pursued an easier career to get my degree. So I made good mentors and friends that kept me motivated. And the moments I struggled, all I had to do was just look around and see other people that were in the same position as me. And after a while, the struggle just becomes normal, and you just keep on moving forward.
Thank you. I think we had a little problem with audio, but if I heard you correctly, one of the things that possibly deterred you was the difficulty in the courses that are needed for a STEM degree. And in that, that you kept motivated by looking around you and seeing others who were like you, who were being persistent and moving in during those challenging courses. So is there anything you would like to add in terms of any suggestions or recommendations for improving or strengthening opportunities to make it more helpful for people who are pursuing STEM degrees?
So I guess one of the things is make good friends. So make competitive friends that will push you forward, and also take advantage of your professors' office hours and get to know them. And also don't be afraid to ask questions. Everybody's confused in those STEM classes, so you won't be the only one that has that same question.
Thank you. Grace, would you like to share your thoughts as well? Please give us examples of barriers or challenges that you experience in pursuing your STEM degree or career.
Well, I would say that my biggest barriers would be the lack of guidance and exposure. Growing up, I grew up in foster care, and so one of the many challenges that I dealt with was having absolutely no person above me interested in my career or where I was going outside of graduating from high school. And so one of the things that I personally decided that I knew I needed good grades to have any sort of future in life. And so I continued to have straight A's and attempt to get those. But once I graduated high school, I really wasn't sure what to do. I took a lot of different courses and different things. I know, like, I absolutely loved technical stuff and I loved doing hands-on, but in middle school, one of the things that was an obstacle is in my town, girls couldn't do any of like the wood shop classes. Girls weren't allowed to take any of those. It was literally just like home ec and art. So for your extra classes, which was really frustrating because I really wanted to take shop. And in high school, the only classes they offered in any sort of like computer programming technical type field was typing. So yes, I took typing and I learned how to type very proficiently, but I mean, the opportunities weren't even there, and neither was the exposure. Like, I didn't know anybody who was in technical fields. I didn't have friends that had parents that did this stuff. I didn't see it. And by the time I graduated, I ended up joining the Navy because I really had absolutely no idea what to do with my life. And I had no exposure to anything, which was definitely a good choice because the Navy gave me quite a bit of exposure. But I didn't even know things existed like national labs that you could do research in science. And so I think that just knowing that there was exposure or getting exposure to some of these things and these ideas where you could do research and do technical stuff and have like all of that pretty much together, or having guidance, is just, it didn't exist for me at all. And I think getting those opportunities and meeting people having opportunities to meet people that can kind of show you more of that stuff is just really beneficial.
Thank you, Grace. So it sounds like I'm hearing from all of you that having exposure to people who look like you, both in gender and ethnicity, having those role models, and then having opportunities to have hands-on experience and awareness about the different STEM careers that are available out there are important in helping people like yourself become engaged and interested in STEM career pathways sooner than later. Do any of the panelists have any additional comments on that? Thank you, Grace. Great. We'll move on to the next question. So Sonia, is there anything that you feel made it harder to see yourself in this career or tempted you to follow another career?
Yeah, so growing up, my parents were very happy that I was that I had decided to become a doctor. Let's go with that. My mom is happy with whatever makes me happy career-wise. My dad, on the other hand, pushed either you're going to go into the medical field or you're going to go for law or you're going to, I don't know, become a pilot, something that, you know, earns big because he grew up with nothing. Now, both of my parents didn't finish elementary school. So the fact that, well, that we got here to this point, living in this country, that was a big deal. And so they definitely pushed for education. And so one of the things that I always struggled with was that even though they pushed for the medical field or law or any other career, the difficulty in me was that I had no idea how to get there. Like, it's one thing that you have your parents pushing, like, yeah, go for this, it's gonna change your life, you're gonna, you know, then have a house, probably meet your significant other, have a good family, blah, 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 blah. But it's just like, I don't know anybody who is a lawyer. How did they get there? I don't know anybody who's actually a doctor. How did they get there? What did they take in school? What extracurriculars were they involved in? How do I even apply to scholarships? How am I going to apply to college? So there was no one in my world that I could follow or have as a mentor to get to this point. So that's why I guess when I said that I have a zigzag of a path, is because I just take on everything. If I like it, if the interest is there, then I'm gonna try it and hopefully I still like it. And if I don't, then I move away from it and try something else. So the fact that I made it this far by trying out so many things is exciting to me because I've tried so many things and I know that I like them. So yeah, that was a struggle. I feel like a lot of us, or a lot of the younger, the younger generations, that's something that they also struggle with. Like, a parent will push and push and push for something that's gonna make them I guess, be successful in life. But if they don't have that guidance, they don't have that mentor figure, they don't have that person that's going to help them, like, it's very hard.
Yes, yes, it is. And we're very glad that you're where you're at. And it sounds like somewhere in your journey, you found a mentor, and the role of a mentor is really important. So thank you for sharing that. Elvin, we understand that you participated in your journey in many work-based experiences, including internships. Can you share how those work-based experiences and internships influenced your journey?
Yeah, I believe that participating in these internships helped me get hired here at PNNL. And also, I think it influenced for me to continue to higher education and get my master's in mechanical engineering. Before PNNL, interning at PNNL, I had no prior internship experience. In the summers, I would work in the farms and orchards with my parents. So I didn't have any experience, no research experience, until I applied to the Science Undergraduate Leadership Internship Program, or also known as SULI. I gained so much knowledge and experience through this program, and I met many engineers and scientists and researchers, very friendly and willing to answer my questions. And after SULI, I was given the opportunity to stay and work as a part-time intern year-round while I finished up my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. And so I stayed, and then upon graduating, then I got hired as a master's intern while I finished up my master's. And now I transitioned over to a full-time staff early, but still finishing up my master's.
It sounds like you've had quite the journey. Sounds like the Department of Energy SULI program you mentioned must have identified a great mentor for you. Do you currently have a mentor? And can you tell us how having a mentor helped you?
Yeah, I currently have many mentors at the lab, probably like 3 or 4 who I look up to. When I first started at my SULI internship, I had 2 mentors, and they helped me immensely. They taught me all their skills and techniques that they've learned throughout their years. One of my mentors retired, so but he made sure to pass along the torch. And they also helped me network, introduced me to new other engineers and scientists. So I got to work on a lot of cool projects because of that.
That's great. And I love the fact that your mentor, when he retired, handed you off to another mentor who kept on the great work of the role of mentor. Is there any other comments relative to mentoring and the role of the mentor with any of the other panelists?
Yeah, I'd love to add to that. I didn't really have any mentors growing up or anything, but then when I got the internship here at PNNL, one of the things that they do is they immediately pair you up with a mentor, and they give you advice, they give you knowledge for work and outside of work, just things that could apply to life. And it's so incredibly useful. I found 3 or 4 people that I regularly go to for advice who just give me information that I need and I value. And it's really, really useful. And I greatly appreciate the mentorship programs.
Thank you, Grace. So it sounds like we're hearing, again, some consistent areas that were challenges, but there was opportunities that help you overcome challenges for all the panelists. So role models, having a hands-on experience or work-based learning experience, and then the role of the mentor and providing support and guidance of what that journey looks like for you. Grace, let's stay with you on the next question. If you could continue to discuss the topic of internships and what kind of roadblocks you encountered in those internship experience. For example, the processes of applying and actually during the internship.
Yes. So one of the biggest roadblocks that I experienced applying to internships, especially here at like PNNL, was that my first degree wasn't really considered appropriate for the program, which was really disappointing because I had a degree in psychology and I was getting a bachelor's of science in psychology, which is heavily statistics based, and I was focused in neurobiology. So I had a lot of experience in anything like cognitive, which really end up directly mapping over to machine learning AI types of like data sets, and all of the stuff that goes on in your brain is very similar to how like machine learning data sets are built and how AI can like read those and work with them. And it was really disappointing to see that was it. I got turned down for that first application, having like spectacular GPA and experience and Navy experience and all this stuff, very interested in computers and technology, but because it was a psychology degree, it was like, no, you cannot have this internship, your degree is not STEM. And I'm just like, that was a massive roadblock, but I kept trying, which eventually led me back to here. So it's just one of those things that I don't think they should limit just because the degree isn't what's listed in their specific,
So it sounds, yeah, so it sounds like one of the challenges is how you represent yourself during the internship application process. And maybe what we're hearing from you is focusing a little bit more about how you connect your internship through the degree that you're seeking, and making it more obvious to the readers of the application about what you may bring to that. And I think more and more we're starting to see employers who are looking at the internship applications in a more holistic way. So thank you for sharing that story, because I think that's really important. Any other comments from other panelists and similar challenges in applying for internship or work-based experiences?
I'm gonna just jump in on this one. I feel like the employers vary. I've had a few experiences where I've been on the reading side of those applications. And for me, like when I look at, oh, we're really interested in XYZ degree, like that's great, because then you know that they've taken certain classes, like have given them knowledge that they will definitely be putting into use, especially I guess more in the lab setup, where you know how they're going to work safely with an acid or a base, or how to pipette correctly. But at the same time, I've met people who have those science degrees who have never even touched a pipette. So for me, I always also push for those that don't have like the science degree that may be required, and look more at the experience that they've have, the other jobs that they've held, other internships that they've done. Can they move that experience or those skills and use them on this side? Or how teachable are they? Can you show them something and can they pick it up right up? Or can you show them something and they need to be shown and shown and shown? So I feel like sometimes we do tend to get very narrow-minded in our like what we prefer by having like the degree title that we're looking for or the college that they're coming from, when we just overlook the experience that they already have, even if it's not where we'd like it to be. Like some skills are transferable. So.
Thank you. That's really good information. And yes, transferable skills and looking at the candidates in a more holistic way is a great recommendation. Isidro, can you tell us a little bit in your experience, what are some of the ways that individuals or organizations can help overcome challenges that might have kept you from continuing to seek a degree or a STEM career pathway?
Yeah, so, can you hear me good this time? All right, yeah, so what introduced me to STEM was the math program, so the mathematics.
I'm sorry, Isidro, you started off strong and then we started to have a little bit cut off. Do you want to try one more time? And then if we have some challenges, we can move on to the next question.
Okay, so what introduced me to the STEM was now.
That's fine. Maybe we can get you at the next question. I'm going to turn this one over to Grace. Grace, you've been talking about several of your challenges that you have faced. Can you share any other approaches that you overcame challenges as you were pursuing your STEM career pathway?
Well, as for challenges, I would say the biggest thing really was just understanding what your opportunities are, and also having the, like I was saying before with the psychology degree, having the right credentials, I suppose would be the right way. But I think for organizations, maybe they need to like look outside of the credentials so much, and I mean more about the individual, because I mean even going into school, I didn't know what degree I really wanted. I was pursuing psychology, knowing that was a potential for some technical research that I wanted to do on mental health or something behavioral wise down the line, but I wasn't really sure, and I didn't really know that. I mean, I always thought in my head, how do I get into something technical, but I wasn't really sure how to get into the computer side of everything. And so it wasn't really until after I graduated from the psychology degree that I met some of the people at CBC. I went over there, tried some classes in the cybersecurity, and just absolutely loved the computer science field and cybersecurity. And I mean, I don't regret for 2 seconds changing my degree there, but one of the things that I needed, again, was a mentor and some guidance and exposure. And I didn't really have any of those until towards, the beginning of cybersecurity degree, where I met Dan Sanner, actually, who works here at PNNL, because he would come and represent some of CBC's Cyberhawks team that participates in like red team and blue team events and stuff. And meeting him was where I kind of started getting molded and pushed in the right direction and getting guidance and advice, which was just amazing. I mean, be able to be exposed to getting exposure to working at, I volunteered to help with the PNNL Bring Your Kids to Work Day, just as a student coming over to help demo some stuff with computers, which gave me access to like just checking out PNNL and seeing what they do here. And then some other things like that. I ended up doing a Boys and Girls Club. I taught code to kids in a Boys and Girls Club as a fun side thing, just because it was like, I like coding and I like this tech stuff. How can I share it with other people? How could I give them the exposure that I didn't have? And so I started doing that. And then I just got all this great guidance from Dan Sanner and other people at PNNL. And so I really think that was really impressive and amazing. And the fact that the company opened up their doors to let people outside come in and check it out was just a really good idea. And so, I mean, honestly, if the company could do that for high schoolers even, and like open up high schools and say, hey, or open up to high schools and let high schools do tours at the site and see kind of some of the things that they do there, that might give underprivileged kids access to things they never would have known about at all.
Thank you so much, Grace. Those are all just great observations and perspectives. And so I would add to the list that we've been talking about today in terms of challenges and opportunities for addressing those challenges. I heard you mention networking, volunteering to get more hands-on experience. And I would add to the list persistence, because it sounds like you were very persistent in your journey. So that's important to note. Elvin, from your perspective, are there any additional strategies that organizations or individuals might employ to ensure all students succeed on their path to a rewarding career? Elvin, I think you might be muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I think organizations could bring high school students to observe what they do at their organization. This would expose these students to different careers that are out there that they may not know about. I mean, I was raised in a small farming town, so I didn't know about many careers that were out there. I think this would benefit a lot of students who are undecided in their majors as well. And also, organizations that offer internships should do more outreach and recruiting to smaller communities. Many of the students that are from small communities don't know the opportunities that are out there and always miss out. So, I mean, looking back, I wish I would have known about the internships PNNL had to offer. That way I could have also been in high school and got more experience that way.
Thank you. So I'm hearing from both you and Grace that having earlier exposure at the high school level would have helped maybe strengthen your pathway or accelerated it if you had more awareness and understanding of the different career pathways that were available for you. So Grace, just going back to you a little bit on that, what do you think individuals or organizations can do to strengthen career pathways?
I think one of the things that I would agree with Elvin there is that they should organizations should definitely do some outreach, and if that means like tours or some sort of going to the high schools, maybe middle schools, and showing kind of some of the projects they do. I don't think it's so much, we don't need to see big speeches of like, oh, this is an amazing place, do this. It's more like, this is what we do. These are the things that we do. These are the things you could potentially do, because that's the exposure that people don't understand. Like like I said, I didn't even know that there was research labs that you could do technical stuff on, like computer science, engineering, all of that. I didn't have a clue how you got into this at all whatsoever. I mean, it took going into getting a psychology degree to figure out how to get into a technical field. And so like having these places reach out and go and show what they do. I know there's a lot of stuff that we can't demo, but there's easily ways we can show some of the cool stuff that we do at these different labs and these different organizations, and then bring kids in, do tours, just show some of the cool stuff that we do. It's like, hey, this is a place you can work. This is, these are the career pathways that you maybe put out some pamphlets and stuff. These are the career pathways that you need to take to get here. There are other ways to do it, but these are the best ones, like some sort of outreach so that they understand. And then in mentorship programs, I think as well, even if the mentorship program is just something like a boys and girls, like going in and visiting them and chatting, or once a month that someone comes to a school and talks to everyone, or something, like giving some sort of guidance that kids who don't get exposed to this stuff on a daily basis would get exposure to, then they could understand where they might be able to go.
That's a very wise perspective and great suggestions as well. Isidro, how's your sound doing?
You guys hear me?
Perfect. Do you have anything to add to what organizations or individuals could do to strengthen career pathways?
Yes, I apologize for all that. Well, in middle school, I was part of the MESA program. So that was mathematics, engineering, and science achievements. So that was basically what got me into STEM. We would go to field trips and they would have guest speakers. And that's where I learned about engineering, and which is why I ended up going for mechanical engineering. And I guess some advice for students is just make good friends. I always had a good competitive friends that we always just pushed each other. We were the guys that were always like showing off our test scores to the other to just encourage them to do better. And also just I did undergraduate research so at WSU. So that is something to that's very valuable because you meet professors and you get to go to the events, and also join clubs. Just be surrounded by people that have the same mentality as you, that want to succeed in life, and you'll do good.
Excellent, thank you. And I'm glad your sound is back. I really want to highlight that having opportunities to engage in organizations or other efforts such as the MESA program really add one more opportunity for you to get that hands-on experience, develop the mentors and the connections to careers you might have not been aware of. So thank you for mentioning that. We have a little under a minute left. Sonia, if you want to wrap up with this last question. I don't know if I think you've shared with us a little bit about some of the obstacles or times in your life where you came across challenges, but is there anything else that you might want to share that an organization or an individual could help with individuals who face challenges? About a minute.
Okay, so for definitely be there for some. If someone asks for your opinion, even if it's even if you don't think it's a good opinion, like share it, because most of the time personally, I would go to someone to just reinforce my way of thinking, which is bad because sometimes you do want someone who has no beef in the game and is going to be true to what they see without having to add to just the way you want to make choices. So be impartial. Just give it what you're thinking, and that will help the individual make the best choice and not make possibly a mistake. So if you're asked for the opinion, give it.
That's great. That's great advice. So be really honest about the challenges or the opportunities that the student may be facing as they question what particular careers are out there or what opportunities there are. So that's a very good perspective. At this time, we'd like to open the panel to audience questions. Please use the question and answer function to ask questions. Brandy Zuger, our moderator, will share questions with our panelists.
Hello, everybody. All right, we've got the first question for you, which is, when you considered your career path, what types of employers did you consider and why?
Elvin, I would love to see your answer to that question.
I really just considered any employer, honestly. I don't have any experience, so I was just hoping I could get in somewhere to get some experience. But I mean, knowing now, I would definitely choose an employer that would have like mentorship opportunities and a lot of different opportunities to like learn and grow and expand your skills, I guess.
Thank you, Elvin.
Could I add to that?
Yes, Grace, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with him. One of the things being a foster kid is, I mean, I honestly was, yes, I want a career, but also I just want a job so I can have a home. And so like, that was one of my big things is I got out and I worked fast food right off the bat because it didn't matter to me what I was going to be doing. At first, I just needed to house myself. Second, like I said, I ended up joining the Navy because I wasn't really sure, and that ended up giving me a lot of exposure to opportunities, which for that was the Navy nuclear program, and I ended up working in nuclear everything. I was an engineering laboratory technician, so I did a lot of different machinist mate work and chemistry and thermodynamics and just a lot of different things in the nuclear Navy, which gave me a lot of experience with science. I think that started help pushing my career, but honestly from high school, just knowing that I was going to be able to take care of myself was probably the most important thing. So I think thinking about a career, if that kind of thing isn't as scary, then you can actually start focusing more on a career.
Great. Any other comments from any of the other panelists?
All right.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say one of the things that I looked for was opportunities where I could move around from department to department. Like I know some of my friends have gone into companies where they're allowed to rotate departments with their degree that they have. And so that was a big plus on my list, because not that I don't like doing one thing, but I do like being involved in multiple things, and not just the learning, but also the meeting people, the networking. You start to build, like a family in the place that you work in. I wanted to be happy, not just with the work that I was doing, but I wanted to be happy with the relationships that I was building and the people that I was working with. So that was one for me.
Thank you. Brandy, the next question.
All right, the next question we have is, looking back and knowing what you know now, is there anything you would change or do differently?
Thank you, Brandy. Isidro, why don't we start with you?
So one thing I would do different is I always try to participate on everything, and I guess at the end of the day that's really stressful, and you end up participating in stuff that isn't really meaningful to you. So I guess just pick the stuff that you're interested in and focus on that instead of trying to be part of everything.
Anybody want to add to that question? Grace?
Yep, I could. One of the things that I would change is that if I could get a mentor or someone who could guide me a little bit better, I think that would have helped a lot. Being able to say, hey, you really like technical stuff, maybe you should just pursue something technical and this is where you should go. And then, I mean, one class would have probably sealed the deal for me. And then the other part of it, I think, would be that I don't think I would have joined the Navy if I had known that you could just like go into a computer science degree and study that kind of stuff at school. Didn't even know that was an option. I don't think I would have joined the Navy though. I probably just would have went straight into a 4-year program and, 10, 15 years later, already be working in that career long term.
Well, it seems to be a consistent feedback from all of you that those of you who have come from underrepresented or underserved communities, right, you just didn't have the exposure, that there's a sense of urgency to start working. And the experience that you jump into sometimes may not even be the experience that you definitely have the aptitude for or the scientific background for, but there's a sense of urgency there. So those are really good comments for us to as an audience to understand. Thank you for that, Grace. Any other additional comments on that before Brandy asks the next question? Brandy?
Okay, this is going to be our last question that we have time for today. And that is, was it important for you to stay local when you considered your career path?
Sonia, I think you could start with that one.
No. Granted, Georgia has great companies and great hospitals. It also has part of a national lab in there. I wanted to explore, and so that's why I came all this way. I don't regret it. I think it has been a great choice. And I know the situation now with COVID and all of that does limit travel and family time, and that does make someone very sad. But there are ways of still keeping up with family and friends, and things are going to get better soon. And so I think that at some point you're going to have to fly away. And for me, I was happy that I did it once I was done with school to some degree, when I had a degree, an experience from little internships, different jobs, just to land somewhere, even if it was on one foot. And I knew that I could just grow from there. And I was very thankful that I got taken under by great mentors that helped still continue to guide me in my career now. So the only ones that are unhappy of this choice are my parents, because I'm not there, but I'm happy.
Thank you, Sonia. Elvin, can you offer a different perspective in terms of importance of geographic location?
Yeah, actually, after I had graduated, or not really graduated, but looking for an internship, this was the first one I happened to apply, and I got accepted to it. And the opportunities that came with this internship, it just made sense for me to stay here, and my family's close by as well. So it just made sense for me to stay here, local.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you again to our panelists for sharing your insight and stories with us. Your dedication in pursuit of a STEM career is inspiring. And a reminder that we all really appreciate the work that you do and hope that you continue to inspire others in pursuing STEM careers as well. Thank you for joining us. And I would also like to thank the Washington State STEM Education Foundation, the Mid-Columbia STEM Network, and the ESD 123 for hosting the virtual event today.
Well, Evangelina, we want to thank you for curating such a wonderful panel. Sonia, Isidro, Grace, and Elvin, you inspire us all. You have such incredible stories, and I couldn't help, as I was listening to you, to think, you are the role models, the mentors, the inspiration that students in middle school and high school truly need right now. And so to hear about your stories of going to the Boys and Girls Club or reaching out, Evangelina has her wonderful STEM Ambassador program. We have the STEM Like Me program, and we can't wait to create more opportunities for you to share that story and inspire young people in our community. So thank you, everyone. And please remember that we'll be back here at 1 o'clock today for employer engagement opportunities. And at this session, which is led by Greg Fancher, you'll learn how you can join representatives from business, labor, education, and the broader community to work together to build programs that pave the pathway from the classroom to the boardroom. See you soon.